So I just picked up this camera right here, the Nikon D3400, and I'm gonna go ahead and take you with me as I set it up for photography and give you a little guide for the best beginner photography settings for the Nikon D3400. So without wasting any time, let's get right into it. All right, so let's turn the camera on and head right into the menu. So like I said, I'll be setting this camera up how I would use all the settings, so you can feel free to change these settings how you'd like. These are the settings that I use for photography and what I would feel like are the best settings for most situations, especially for beginners. Now, for video stuff, I already made a video about that. It should be up by now, so feel free to check that out for the best video settings. This is only gonna be for photography, for my photography settings. So I'm gonna skip over all the video stuff and just go right with images. So if you're not into videos, this will be great for you. But if you do want to shoot videos, go check out that other video. So first things first, image quality. I keep this at RAW. So I usually always shoot RAWs so I can edit them in Adobe Lightroom, and RAW basically saves all of the image data and all of the data from the sensor so you can change it around in post-production, and it's the highest quality file. Now if you're not going to be editing or anything like that, you just want to take pictures and then just upload them to the internet or give them to your friends or something, then JPEG Fine is going to be the best option for you. It'll be the highest quality JPEG, and that'll be the best quality image straight out of the camera. With a good file size, it's not going to be super huge like a RAW is, but it's still going to be high quality. So put that at JPEG Fine if you're not going to be editing your photos, but if you do want to edit your photos, put it on a RAW, and that's what I use. And then now image size, it's blurred out because it's RAW, but if I do a JPEG, the image size, you're going to want to keep it at large because that'll be the highest quality, the biggest image, 24 megapixels. So if you are shooting JPEGs, put that on large. But again, for RAW, it's going to already be as large as it can. ISO sensitivity settings, if you don't know what this is, look into ISO. I mean, it's a basic thing that would be really good to know anyways. So look into ISOs, but basically a good thing to do is keep this as low as you can, around 1 to 200, maybe 4, 800. Somewhere around there. It'll be good with not a lot of noise. But again, look into that if you don't know what ISO is. It's definitely something that you need to know. White balance. I keep this at auto, especially for beginners. Auto is what you're going to want. You really don't need to use all these. Basically what white balance does is control how warm or cool the image is, and automatic does a great job, especially for beginners. But you can mess around with some of these if you'd like. It's basically, just for whatever situation you're in. Picture control right here. So this is almost like a filter, like in Instagram, how you have a black and white filter, or something to make it look really flat. So you can mess around with these. I usually keep mine for pictures at standard or neutral. It'll give a good look, and I can always edit and post and add saturation or contrast or sharpness. So I'd probably keep this on standard for when you're starting out, but you can mess around and look at some of the other ones. Vivid will have a lot of saturation built into it, and monochrome obviously is black and white, so you can mess around with these, but I keep mine as standard. Then color space, keep this at sRGB. Don't even worry about Adobe RGB. You might think, oh, I edited this in Adobe Lightroom or something. Just don't even worry about it. That doesn't matter. Keep it at sRGB. Active delighting, I keep this on for photography. And then head down here, noise reduction. I usually keep this off because I can add noise reduction in Lightroom, and this can sometimes make the image look kind of muddy and blurry a little bit. So I usually keep that off, and I can always change it in a editing software. Vignette Control, I put that right at normal, just keep it how it is. And then auto distortion control. For images, I usually keep this on because it'll basically help control the distortion that the lens creates on the image. So like wide angle lenses will sometimes be a little distorted, and this will help control that. But mostly only for Nikon lenses that, the camera will know what they are. But I usually just keep this on, and if there's a lens that doesn't recognize, you'll just turn it off automatically. Focus mode. So I usually keep this on continuous servo autofocus. So continuous servo autofocus, basically what this does is it's always going to be looking for focus. So if you're moving around a lot or shooting like action, like sports or something, this will always be looking for something to focus on. And it'll really be good for at least beginners because it'll just, focus on whatever's moving around and whatever's kind of closest to your frame. That's what I keep mine at, but you can obviously change it around. Single servo, basically, when you half press the shutter button, it'll focus once and you take a picture, It won't change the focus after that, it'll just keep it where it is. And then manual focus, this is where you focus yourself. But again, I keep mine at continuous. And then autofocus area mode, I actually set this at dynamic area. It's basically a nice wide area that it'll look for autofocus in, and there's a bunch of different points that it will basically check on to find the focus. That's what I keep it at. You can change this around as well. Like 3D tracking, that'll be good for like tracking a subject that's moving really fast. And then single point, it'll just be one single point that will be there to, look for focus. Built-in autofocus assist illuminator, I keep this off. It's basically this like annoying light on the front of the camera that'll light up to help find focus. It's just really annoying. I keep that off. Then metering right here, I keep this on matrix metering. So if you have one of the automatic modes or like aperture priority or shutter priority or something, anything besides manual pretty much, the camera will look over the image to find what exposure to keep everything at, and to keep everything exposed correctly so nothing's overexposed or underexposed or anything like that. So matrix metering will look over the entire image and find a good middle ground. Meanwhile, spot metering or center weighted, we'll just look at one point of the screen and make sure that is properly exposed, but everything else could be totally like way too bright or way too dark. So matrix metering is a good middle ground. It looks over the entire image. And then flash control for built-in flash. I don't use the built-in flash, but you can probably just keep those right at the automatic settings. Optical VR, always keep that on. It's basically vibration reduction or stabilization. So it'll help if you're shooting a longer exposure handheld, it won't look as blurry. Or if like the camera's moving a lot, when you take a picture and it moves like that with a longer exposure, it can sometimes make the image look bad and blurry. So always just keep that on. And then these are the movie settings, which again, I made a whole video about all these, the best video settings, so go check that out if you want to shoot videos. But I'm not gonna look over these right now because I know a lot of people don't even shoot videos and you're just interested in photography. So I'm not even gonna go over that. But again, check out that video settings video if you'd like to. And that wraps up the photography settings that I usually change on my camera here. So that's everything right there. The rest of this, the playback menu and the setup menu, retouch menu, all that stuff, you can look over and change stuff yourself or watch a different video. I mean, that's really nothing to do with just image quality, which is what, this video is about, obviously. So feel free to go through all these and change them however you'd like. And honestly, the best thing to do is just go out there and shoot some pictures and basically figure out what works best for you. So there we go. That wraps up the best settings for photography with the Nikon D3400, or at least the settings that I use. If you like this video, feel free to go down and give it a like and subscribe to my channel because I put a lot of time and effort into these videos and I'd really appreciate it. And also, this is just a guide, so feel free to change these settings around and basically adjust them to your liking because these are just the settings I use and they may not be perfect for you. And if they are, that's great, but feel free to change them around a little bit to best fit your workflow. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.